We begin this noon with that fatal fire on Youngstown's south side. Investigators at this hour are still looking into what may have sparked the flames this morning. This as neighbors try to cope with witnessing a tragedy.
I didn't want to believe it. I even went in the kitchen, cried, and came back out hoping that it was a dream.
Jean McCammon has lived across the street from 3631 Powers Way for a decade. Her neighbors, who she describes as young grandparents who are both deaf, and a young girl, possibly their grandchild, were killed this morning when the house caught fire.
We are working to identify those the decedents that we have, and autopsies will proceed after that.
Folks who live nearby say they heard an explosion just after 3:30 this morning.
I heard an explosion, but it was a weird sounding explosion, almost like a thump. I thought my daughter had fallen out of her bed or something. Then about 30 seconds to a minute after, there was a smaller explosion.
I looked out the window and the fire broke out from the bottom of the basement and just whooshed. And it was totally on fire. It was a ball of fire.
Youngstown Fire Chief John O'Neill says that's something they're looking into because there was glass from the window scattered across the yard.
The investigators are here right now, and we'll get started on this right away.
Now, a firefighter was also injured in the fire when he fell through the floor. He was taken to the hospital to get checked out. Investigators are still on the scene this noon trying to piece together exactly what happened minutes before the fire broke out. That's where First News reporter Greta Mitterator joins us live with the latest in this investigation. Greta?
Good afternoon to you, Nadine, and you can't help but be disturbed by the scene you see behind me here. The house on Powers destroyed this morning, 3 lives lost. As you can see, there are a number of investigators still on scene. It's been a very busy site this morning as they're trying to search through what's left of this home. At one point, they were taking water out of the basement, pumping it out, trying to look down there for any answers, any clues as to what may have sparked this particular fire. Now, I spoke with 2 different folks related to the people that lived in the home. One of the gentlemen was the best friend of the man, and he says that he was a great man and he is very upset. You could obviously tell by the loss. And I also spoke to the man who owns the home right next door over there. He said he knew the grandparents as well. He called them Bill and Judy and said they were very nice people. Bill enjoyed to hunt. Of course, both of them were deaf, and he said that the little girl as well would play with the neighbor kids next door. That's what we're hearing. All the folks around here very disturbed by the situation, and we will continue to look into what may have sparked this blaze. At this point, they're not saying very much, but here's what Detective Ray Blackburn with the YPD is saying thus far.
Well, there's no indication anything is criminal as of yet, but due to the fact that we had 3 people inside, we're treating it with care until we learn otherwise. We have the state fire marshal here, the Youngstown arson, and we're just taking precautions. But as of yet, there's nothing to indicate that this was a criminal incident.
Here at First News at 5 and 6 o'clock. For now, the reporting live in Youngstown for WKBN 27 First News. I'm Greta Mitterator. Nadine?